Hello everyone, this is module number 1 of the Zen Mindset Immersion class. We're starting with the very first topic, which is Zazen, which stands for seated meditation. This is the entire spoke of the wheel. This is the hub of the entire program. The reason why I say that is that the tradition of Zen and Soto Zen, the lineage that I come from that I'll explain in a little more detail, the emphasis is on seated meditation. And the reason why is because we actually sit in this style with our eyes open, facing a blank white wall. The reason for that is the meditation is designed to train your brain and your body to be aware, attentive, mindful in the moment, in the midst of activity, but yet the activity is as simple as it could get, right? You're sitting completely still and silent, yet you're still paying attention. The idea is that with your eyes open, you're then able to take that off of the cushion and be mindful and be meditative while you're sweeping, while you're raking the leaves, while you're driving, while you're working. And that's why when we go through this program, we will touch on other topics that are an extension of the meditation. But it all starts with this. And again, it's called Zazen. The grandfather of Zazen is a guy named Dogen, who was originally from Japan. He was in search of the true form of meditation, the true form of Buddhism. And he went to China where he found a teacher and he experienced Zazen, seated, silent, still, open-eyed meditation with very little instruction. It's sort of like being thrown a little bit into the deep end with meditation. But there he felt like he found the true version of meditation and he brought it back to Japan where it became Zen. So for myself, how did I discover this path? How did I end up here teaching, being so passionate about this? Well, I found myself in a tough situation. I moved out to California in 2011 from New York. I moved out to sell solar power and that job was not going so well. I found myself on my friend's air mattress in a living room with my dog named Bella. And it was a tough situation. I could probably say it was rock bottom. And so for me, instead of going to partying or drugs or alcohol, the thing that I felt I needed to do was I needed to go to my local bookstore and I need to go directly to the Eastern religion section and find a good book on spirituality. That's what spoke to me in that moment. And so I walk into the bookstore and I'm looking through the shelves and a book jumps out at me. The colors, the fonts, the names, and it was this book right here, Zen Wrapped in Karma, Dipped in Chocolate by the author Brad Warner. I picked this book up off the shelf. I read the back. Immediately it intrigued me. I had never read specifically about Zen before. I had already done some research on Buddhism, was already interested in Buddhism, but Zen particularly was new to me. So I took that book home and I read it very quickly. I ended up Googling the author's name and found that he had a meditation group that met every Saturday morning in Santa Monica. I was living down in Laguna Beach at the time, which is over 2 hour, hour and a half drive. And so it took some time for me to eventually move up to Los Angeles and be able to start attending these classes on Saturday mornings. But I will say that the very first time that I sat in this particular style of Zazen, silent, still, open-eyed, I'm not going to sit here and claim that I had enlightenment on my first session, but something very profound happened to me in that moment. Being a New Yorker, fast-paced, entrepreneur, athlete, salesperson, for me to have sat completely still and silent and not react to every little thing that was going on around me or even in my own head, it was a very profound experience. And it's really what drew me in. There was a serenity, a peace, a calmness that came over me by making sure that I started to dedicate time to this practice. And so one of the things that we're going to cover in these classes is the problems that some of us are experiencing within our own lives and the benefits of a practice like this and throughout the class. So some of the problems that we're all experiencing, I touched on this in the introduction, it's on my website, but a lot of us are experiencing stress, anxiety, depression. We're easily distracted by all the notifications. A lot of us have a lack of focus, lack of concentration, poor sleep, sometimes poor decision making, and then even physical pain and discomfort. So we're all experiencing a lot and variations of these. Some of us will have all these problems. It's amazing. This is not going to solve everything in one session, but the benefits of meditation are extraordinary. It can help you reduce stress, improve your focus, improve concentration, enhance your emotional regulation, increase self-awareness, have better sleep, reduce your pain, control anxiety, and even boost your immune system, which has been really important in the post-pandemic world. So this class will walk you through, obviously, all these different things. There are a couple of resources that are really powerful that have gotten me, again, on my journey, and I'd like to share them with you. And so one is my original teacher and author of that first book I mentioned is his first book named Hardcore Zen. This is a really good introduction to people into Zen. He's a punk rocker from Akron, Ohio, turned Zen teacher. It's very relatable, the stories that he tells, but then also the actual instruction of Zazen is important as well. And Brad's teacher, Gudo Nishijima, wrote a book called To Meet the Real Dragon, and this is also a great introduction to Zazen and the actual, seated meditation. So for those of you who did not see my Intro to Meditation and Mindfulness class, I will just quickly explain to you actual Zazen instruction. Gudo Nishijima talks about bringing our parasympathetic nervous system into balance, right? So we are actually balancing out our nervous system by sitting still and silent. We have natural tendencies to be in fight or flight or to be balanced and calm. This meditation, both physically and mentally, is calming our entire physiology. So you want to have your ears in line with your shoulders, your nose in line with your belly button. I'm sitting cross-legged on the floor. You could do this in your chair, at your desk. It doesn't have to be the way I'm doing it right now. We put our hands in what's called the cosmic mudra. We put our left fingertips on top of our right. We gently touch our thumbs together in an oval shape. We put it around our navel. And we're looking down the tip of our nose with our eyes open at a 45-degree angle. We find a spot to focus on called the drishti in yoga, and we're focusing on that spot. If we drift off into thought, which will inevitably happen, we come back to our straight spine and that point of focus. We want to have a straight back. We don't want to be hunched over. We also don't want to be super militaristic. We just want to find a nice little spot. Some people will sway back and forth, and wherever they naturally land and stop is where they sit. Now, in my intro to meditation and mindfulness, we only sit for 5 minutes. Typical Zazen sessions are a half hour with a 10-minute walking meditation called Kinhin, which we're going to get to next. And then you sit down and do another half hour. So it's an hour and 10 minutes usually of complete stillness and silence. Obviously challenging for beginners, but if you get into this practice, you'll see the power of sitting still and silent. One of the things that people always ask is, what do I do with my mind? That's always a challenging topic, but the idea is to let go. There's an idea, and there's a book written called Opening the Hand of Thought. So a lot of us will be gripping onto thoughts and ideas, especially within meditation. Throughout our day, we'll be fixating on things. The idea is to open up that hand and let it go. Another analogy is clouds passing in the sky. One of my favorite ones is a story that a teacher told about as if you're drinking tea in your living room and you have family and friends over and your front door is open and your back door to your backyard is open. People are coming in and out of your house. You're sitting there at the table drinking tea. Your thoughts are the friends and family coming and going. The idea is to not engage them. You don't want them to sit down at the table and pour themselves a cup of tea and start chit-chatting with you about their day. Try to let them come and go without engagement. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying not to engage our thoughts. We're just being passive observers of what we're experiencing. And as we're doing that, we're building resiliency. We're also realizing that 99% of the thoughts that we have throughout the day are not important, not relevant, not helpful. This helps us discern what is actually important and where we could actually put our focus and attention, because the majority of the stuff that we're thinking about is not very important. So that's a big part of this practice. It gives us the tools to handle anxiety, to be present, to be mindful, and that's why everything else from this course stems from the practice of Zazen. So, with all that being said, obviously I encourage you to start your own practice. You could go back and watch the intro video if you want. And again, it doesn't have to be specifically Zazen. The point is to encourage you to sit still and silent. And even if you sit with your eyes closed, there's no right or wrong way to do this. The idea is to just start, to get going, to start building this muscle to provide you with all these benefits that meditation provides. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next module.